You mentioned the generational change from technocrats
yes.
to leaders, a new generation of leaders who are versed in law and economics
yes.
and politics. Clearly, China's had rapid technological growth.
Yes.
Do you see this new generation focusing on institutional development within the context of the nationalism you mentioned? And the second question is, or second part of my question is, are they risk takers? Because technocrats tend to be more risk averse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or are they going to be more risk?
Yeah, very good question. And the first is, let me ask the second question first. The risk taker, different people have different personality. Li Keqiang is not risk taker. Xi Jinping, Li Yuanchao are. And Wang Jisan definitely is risk taker. Look at the SARS crisis. He was appointed to be mayor of Beijing. That's a very crucial moment. People are dying, and that people said China will have faced China Chernobyl, and the economy paralyzed. He took the leadership very aggressively to deal with this problem. The same things with his early financial scandal in Guangdong. He was appointed as a deputy party secretary and etc. So all these things mean that these people actually accept Li Keqiang. All other four, I think, is risk takers. Now, in terms of technology, the nationalistic things about technology development, I think that their main policy agenda, particularly those Tuanpai leaders, the populists, they will be most interested in social justice, distributive, justice. So there's one misunderstanding by New York Times, by my good friend, or other newspapers. They still believe that China's top priority is economic growth, which is not accurate. Yes, China wants to have the double growth by the year 2020. But the thing is, Chinese leaders all concerned China's economy is overheated. The growth rate, no matter what, will be very, very high. They should not worry. They want to cool down. They will cool down the stock market, cool down the property market at the moment. Of course, they want to have economic growth, but that's not an imminent threat for them. The imminent threat is disparity, is pollution, it's the lack of social safety net, it's public health. Now, so I think in general, these fifth generation will be very much in line with Hu Jintao's platform, its populist approach, so-called harmonious society, scientific development for the right growth model. So these are the platform which already accepted. Now, but if there's a global financial crisis which will hit the middle class, then they will start to doubt your capacity in economic administration. Then Xi Jinping and Bo Xilai and Wang Jisan can come back to criticize Hu Jintao's people. Now that's kind of dynamic. But in my view, if you are invested in China, you should first to think about making friends with Hu Jintao's people. At least should not put all your money on the Jiang Zemin's proteges. That's very dangerous. That's the problem probably we are doing. Many of companies actually, they put too much in because these people are familiar. They are in economic performance, Wang Jisan, Xi Jinping, Bo Xilai, etc. They don't know about Li Keqiang, where you come from. They don't know about Wang Yang from the inland region, from the Youth League, etc. They only start to know them during the past 2 or 3 years. Right. So that's the situation. That's a general trend. Yes.
Speaking as a princeling, I'm trying not to take offense at your remarks. Why is it in the interest of all of the Chinese contenders to buy fewer U.S. Treasury bonds and to invest that money in curing disparities, pollution control, public health, things like that in China? Yeah,
I think that issue, probably they're leaning towards that particular you describe. And I think for them, the period that China is most accommodating for foreign investment is under Zhu Rongji, that time, Zhu Rongji's leadership. But that era is coming to an end. Western companies or investors still have tremendous interest, they have tremendous opportunities, but it should be in the service sector, should be environmental products, should be more concerned about China's legal system, and should be aware that China, I heard, this is in June when I visited China, people in the National People's Congress, the official told me that Zhou Xiaochuan and Ma Kai in big trouble. Ma Kai is the minister of NDRC. I do not know the reason. Then I got a phone call just 2 or 3 weeks ago by BBC. They asked me to comment on a story that in at the end of August, the China's National People's Congress, not the Party Congress, National People's Congress Standing Committee, about 12 or 15 members wrote a petition, asked 3 people to resign as ministers, including Ma Kai, Zhou Xiaochuan, and Zhou Yongkang. Zhou Yongkang is the Minister of Public Affairs. I cannot verify that story, but it immediately reminded me what I heard from the inside the National People's Congress. So the reason is probably the way they handle about inflation, 1% for Ma Kai, the other probably Zhou Xiaochuan related with the foreign reserve, with purchased too much US bonds and etc. They lost billions of dollars, maybe this, I don't know, but it's my guess. The Zhou Yongkang, I have no idea what's the story, but that's the probably perspective. So no matter what, they want to shift. They want to be more balanced in the future. To a certain extent, they thought probably EU will provide the more opportunities, etc. So the economic policy, like the foreign policy, there's some changes from Hu Jintao, from Jiang Zemin to Hu Jintao. Now, Jiang Zemin's foreign policy is called major power diplomacy, particularly except Japan. He hates Japan, but he certainly very admire United States. So United States, Russia, EU. But Hu Jintao still want to put a priority on United States. But his foreign policy called all-round foreign diplomacy, all-round diplomacy, which means that China should get well with China's neighboring countries, particularly neighboring countries, ASEAN countries, India, and Russia, and etc. Of course, that is difficult. All these countries are very suspicious about China's rise power. So, but eventually maybe come back to United States, this kind of argument. They already see the change. So they wanted to use the leverage with China's good relationship, including with Japan, to try to make the United States be more considerate, more kind of accommodating to China's need, particularly in the area of Taiwan, and less critical about other things. So that's kind of policy changes. I think the 5th generation probably will be following that line. So we will experience some difficulties in the years to come. And I cannot say that they're wonderful. No, they're not. They're very nationalistic. But at the same time, they are reasonable people. I think that still can work with. Some of them actually probably almost equally skillful like Hu Jintao, but we will see some kind of uncertainty period in terms of transition. This time, really, if you ask me who will be Hu Jintao's successor, to tell the truth, I don't know. But that fact itself is very telling, very revealing. Tell us the Chinese elite politics has changed. Previously, Deng Xiaoping can appoint one person as successor. Right. Mao Zedong certainly can do whatever he wants. Right. But Jiang Zemin already has limits. Now, Zhou Kang's story has another problem. He sounds like make Jiang Zemin so powerful, can decide Hu Jintao's successor. But the fact is Jiang Zemin cannot even help his son to get elected as a delegation member. Isn't that a contradiction? Yes, it's a contradiction because Jiang Mianheng was defeated in terms of getting a ticket. How could you reconcile these contradictions? So the fact is, Jiang Zemin still has some influence, but not so much power. He may recommend 3 people to Hu Jintao. Hu Jintao will be nice enough to take 1. That's it. That's the relationship probably, going on.
A question about 3 people. With Wu Yi leaving, who will solve all of China's problems with the United States? That's the first one. Yeah. Second, the chairman of the National People's Congress, Wu Bangguo, I think is getting to the retirement age. So what happens in March? Do they select a new chairman, or who is that? And then third, Mark and I have a lot of interest in the Chinese military, and we're curious about what happens to Minister of National Defense Cao and who replaces him. Any thoughts on the 3?
Yeah. Yes. Well, these are all excellent questions. You are really experts. The first is who will be in charge of. Really, that person is not just a Wu Yi, but also Wang Ju's replacement. Executive Vice Premier. Okay. That position also important. I think it's really Wu Yi's success is unclear. Or it's really not clear at all. I asked many people in China. They said no answer. They don't know. For Wang Ju's Executive Vice Premier, I think it can come from 3 pools. The first pool is the rising star of 5th generation. Any 5 people I mentioned could be Executive Vice Premier. This is the first pool. Second pool is the current member of Politburo, but not standing committee member. But these people will not be successor to Wen Jiabao, but be a heavyweight to check and balance Wen Jiabao. This could be Yu Zhengsen. Yu Zhengsen is current party secretary of Hubei, Jiang Zemin's protege, Zheng Qinghong's protege, his brother, de facto United States, in that story, right? And his father married to Jiang Qing, Mao's wife, the first marriage, so that's very complicated family background. But he is a very good politician, right? Xi Jinping is no Zheng Qinghong, but Yu Zhengsen could be Zheng Qinghong-like figure. So he may move to become vice premier. They are also at the current vice premier. Remember I mentioned that the 3 out of 4 vice premiers were, there's another vice premier. His name is Hui Liangyu. He's in charge of agriculture, Hui, H-U-I, Hui Liangyu. He could stay on, become executive vice premier.
He's Minister of
Agriculture. Well, in charge of that, not minister, but in charge of that. He's above that.